We're talking the runoff elections in Cameron County for Cameron County Sheriff, and joining us is Robert Rodriguez, running on the Republican ticket. Good morning, Mr. Rodriguez.
Good morning, sir.
Now, why are you running for sheriff?
Well, there's a couple of things that are important. I think one of the most important things that I looked at is it's time for some change in Cameron County. And I'm also looking at changing the delivery and the quality of service that all our citizens in Cameron County receive from that sheriff's office.
What issues do you currently have?
There's several issues that we have discussed. Number one is the actual the patrolling of certain area, those that are not within the jurisdiction of other municipalities. We also have issues with the jail standards. We also are looking at commissary and the kitchen, and again, overall service that's rendered to the citizens of Cameron County.
Now, I assume that you have massive experience in this area. Can you tell us some of your credentials?
Well, everybody still calls me chief. I'm the retired police chief from South Padre Island. I worked 25 years South Padre Island. So I have an experience with, the different events and different things that happen on the island. 25 spring breaks, I think, kind of qualifies you for certain things in law enforcement. But I have a bachelor's degree in criminology. And, I graduated from the University in Brownsville. I also have a master peace officer's license. But I started my career back in 1982 here in Hidalgo County as a Cameron County as one of their county jailers. So I'm licensed as a jailer, and of course, peace officer and other things, instructor, firearms instructor. So I have a lot of experience when it comes to the function. Of course, the biggest thing was about 12 years of administrative experience with budgets and other scheduling and things like that make it important that you understand how a department functions.
Now, you mentioned that you're running on the Republican ticket. What role does the party have in sheriff's business?
Well, the party is basically there for support, and I think one of the things that we look at, it's important what we bring to, the table. My beliefs as a Republican are something that is going to affect how I work. It doesn't affect any policies or anything that changes the lives of people in Cameron County, but it just tells you what and right now the Republican Party is basically trying to slim down. This is why the runoff. Once we figure out which is the candidate that will move on to the November general ballot, then the Republican Party is always there to support the candidates.
All right, say you make it, it's a tight race. Day one in office, what do you do?
Well, day one, you basically go in and start just evaluating what is available, what are the services that are currently ongoing, and then evaluate everything that's going on, and then once you evaluate that, then we'll go back and maybe change some things, tweak some things to make it better. The whole objective is to look at the total function of that department, and then once we evaluate it, then go back and make those changes that are needed. But first thing is providing a high quality of service to all the citizens of Cameron County.
Let's take a look at some local issues for a second. Border security, for one. What role would the Cameron County Sheriff's Office, with you running it, how would you cooperate with Border Patrol and other agencies like that?
Well, it's a work relationship that we have with them, and as I said, as the chief and other administrative duties on South Padre Island, we always work well with other agencies, and it's not a one agency decision to go out and combat some of these border issues, but it's a unity of all these agencies working together to make sure that we're always there to be able to do that. So I always brought people in, and I've always said, we sit down at the table, we discuss what the issues are, and then from there we decide which direction is best to, actually respond to those issues that are on the border. But my deal is always a good working relationship with other agencies and have that positive network with those agencies also.
What about the local drug trade? What would you do to combat influx of drugs coming in from the border?
Well, understanding what it is. The drug trade has been here for forever, and I think once we understand where some of this stuff comes through, the river is there for a purpose. Everybody on the Mexican side, in the side of Mexico, always going to look for their part of the entrance into the U.S. Understanding those logistics, understanding those things that are important to get the information that you need so you can respond to those things. As long as we're working with other agencies and we're looking at what we know is there, then it gives you a better upper hand to be able to combat that.
What about the current budget in the Sheriff's Department? You mentioned going in, evaluating things, cutting everything down. Do you feel like there's any wasteful spending going on in the Sheriff's Office right now?
Well, again, I'd have to go in and evaluate that budget that's there. More than likely, I would then have to start creating a budget for my term. And what we look at is you do evaluate all those items that are in that budget, line item by line item, and you look at what you're spending. After you evaluate how much you're spending, then you can go back and do your adjustments based on the needs. A budget is always there. It is a working document, a breathing document. So what you do is you go back and you evaluate what's important and then make those changes as needed. But if there is any changes, you need to justify those changes by having the documents that are needed or the information that's needed. So if somebody does ask you, why did you change this, or why did you increase or decrease, at least you have the information that goes along with that.
You have the last word. What do you want voters to take home from this about how important the Cameron County Sheriff's race is?
Well, I think this is how important it is. I've always said that even if I was not running, but I've been a public servant for over 33 years, the most important thing is that Cameron County needs a change. And the only way that we're going to have and bring that change is that we as voters, we as citizens of Cameron County need to come out and vote so we can bring those changes. This is your office. The person that you put in that office is going to represent you, and you want somebody in there that represents you well, that represents the true quality of law enforcement and the service provided to all citizens of Cameron County. So the only way we're going to accomplish that is by being able to get out and, with your assistance, vote and vote for the right person so we can bring that change.
I want to thank you very much for your time. Robert Rodriguez, running in the Republican runoff for the Sheriff's Office in Cameron County.